evening. Hope you're doing okay. Looky what I'm on. Bring the beast to life. Oh god, that noise. So welcome to the video on the old beast, my old Ducati 916. We are heading off to screwfix. If you're not a UK resident, that is a hardware store type thing, and I've got an order to collect. I decided because it's a lovely bright sunny day, I'll take this old girl out. I've got a little rucksack on the back. I say a rucksack, it's a RoadSkin drawstring bag thing. So RoadSkin, if you're watching this, you're welcome. I'm wearing your jeans and your bags. I've got a little bit of an update on KTM actually, along with an update on this as well, because I got a very interesting message the other day about this old girl. But let's get on the road first. So let's start with the news about KTM, shall we? This was probed by, there's a KTM owners group on Facebook, or there's about 30 of them, and a guy, it wasn't his fault or anything, he just shared the news. You saw an article which some morons bundled together as a bit of a update on KTM, and it's basically just all the information we already know, but the title of it is something like "It's official, KTM have gone bust" or something like that, and obviously people are getting notifications about it and going, oh my god, really? It's obviously not true. It's obviously all BS. That sort of sparked me going, actually, do you know what, it's been 2 months or whatever it's been, I wonder what is happening with KTM. And it sounds like there's a few little goings on. One of them, which is probably quite a big one actually, is the CEO has decided to stand down. I'm very much talking about this from a third person's perspective. I'm not a businessman. Whether he was great for the company or bad for the company, his influence or his decision making has helped grow the company from what it was 10 years ago to what it is now, minus that small part of potential financial ruin. But he's still done a substantial job increasing the growth of KTM and the KTM group. Some decisions being great, other decisions being mediocre or ridiculously stupid. So basically he has left it to the co-CEO. I think the co-CEO is quite a bit younger. I always end up riding this thing in town when I'm doing videos, and I remember it's horrendously uncomfortable doing under 40-50 mile an hour. Oh doggy. So hopefully that is a move forward for KTM and something that is only going to be a positive thing. In line with positive things happening to KTM, there's also rumour of 3 potential new investors. Oh, Didcot is right actually, let's go Didcot. Just jump straight in at the front. So the first one is Bajaj. They're already creating and building the engines for KTM and the other brands within the group. So it's a company that already knows how KTM run. We might even have had more news by the time this video comes out. So there may be complete updates to all of this by now, but I don't know. And then the final investor that is potentially on the table is CF Moto. Bikes they're sort of teasing and potentially coming out with recently are unbelievable bits of kit. I think the 800 MT or MTX or whatever it is that they've got coming out is essentially a KTM 890. Every single option that you normally can tick at a dealer, it's got, and they some of them are like 6 grand. Even the top level ones, they're like 11 grand with everything on, with full luggage. This bike is one of those ones that like you think you're doing 30 mile an hour and you look down, you're doing 55. So yes, 3 potential investors for KTM, a CEO with a very hefty salary standing down. So that for me shouts really good news. I mean, I knew KTM would be fine anyway. I knew there would be issues that they would have to rectify. There would be places they would have to make savings, like Triumph did many years ago, where they put most of their manufacturing in Taiwan. Then they kept like the core design team and whatever in Hinckley in the UK. Same thing that BMW are starting to do, where they're putting a lot of the manufacturing for their engines in China. I'm assuming some other parts will go into China. So it's very much like a norm that is happening at the moment. Sorry. Oh. Oh. Oh, that was my twins. Oh. Oh, the Mitchell brothers just took a punt. Oh my god, that hurt. Oh. Oh. It was always a bit of an odd one to me with people that were like talking down and sort of hoping that KTM would go bust. If KTM went bust, it would affect everyone. Like, you're losing competition from the market, which is not just KTM, it's Husqvarna, it's Gas. Obviously there was at the time MV Agusta. Like, all of these brands would cease to exist. Obviously I would assume they'd get bought out eventually. I think the thing that for me that KTM does so well is yeah I understand they're not as, plastics aren't as premium as a Ducati or a GS kind of thing. I understand that a GS is arguably better for touring. The KTMs offer such a good all-round package. You have got that touring package, like 98-99% of what a GS would do or a Tiger 1200 would do, but you've also got the utter cock factor that comes with a Super Duke and various other bikes in that remit. KTM, I mean, I don't agree with their ridiculous deals they do. Oh, you can get £4 off and a free tech pack, and whereas every other manufacturer is just going, we're going to offer you 500 quid towards accessories that you have to buy in this shop. Yeah, fair enough 10 years ago, but now the bikes are so good and such a close competitor. They need to believe in their product and believe how good they are, because then if everyone paid slightly more money, and I'm not saying, yes, okay, it's not as good for me and you, but if everyone paid slightly more money, they would have more money to develop them and make them better. There's no way a dealer can make money and stay running when their margins are so small. Digressing massively, what I was going to say is the thing with KTM offering bikes, a brand spanking new Super Adventure S with the tech pack and a load of things optioned, it's still like sub 20 grand. The amount of bike you're getting for 16, 17 grand is unbelievable. I think if there wasn't someone in the market offering a low priced or a competitively priced bike where you're not really sacrificing anything, it would just mean that all the other manufacturers could start ramping up their costs. Suddenly your 1300 GS with a few bits on it is 30 grand. Suddenly your Ducati Multistrada Rally is, I don't know, 45, 50 grand. Like I said, it's the same thing Honda are doing with their new 1000cc Hornet at like under 10 grand. That is exactly what keeps the market in check. But without that, all of the market would continue to just increase and increase and increase, and it gets to a point where none of us can afford a new bike unless you've got big Wonga in the pocket. Big Wonga in the pocket. So I'm going to go into Screwfix, get my parcel, and then I will tell you about the interesting message that I got about this old girl the other day. Get into neutral, you slag. Bloody Ducatis. Thank you very much. Seems a bit of a waste one. It's only that. Power. God, it sounds so good. I'm probably going to have to stop at some point to reread the message because it was quite a lengthy one. And all the message said, paraphrasing because I can't actually remember what it said, but all the message essentially said was, "Hi Sam, hope you're alright. Just thought I'd let you know that your Ducati is my old bike, and if you ever want to know anything about it, if you're ever interested to learn more about the history or anything like that, ping me a message and I'll be happy to tell you about it." So I went back to him and said, obviously, yeah, I'll definitely be interested in that, as like I'm not too fussed about why it's got low mileage kind of thing. Like, unless the bike's actually got 70,000 miles and some guys just bought some low mileage clocks off of eBay. I am going to pull over in here and just read this message to you because I don't want to do it the injustice. I want to tell everyone accurately. Oh, doesn't come with indicators on those on Vauxhalls. Probably a little bit long to text, but I can give you a full history on the bike before I owned it if you'd like to, which would explain the low mileage, perhaps a call if you need to. Otherwise, all the rebuild was done by a really good friend of mine who is a chassis engineer for Triumph, runs a Manx GP outfit, and also races Ducatis, so he has an in-depth knowledge. All the gold and silver engine parts have been coated in Cerakote. The bike was off the road or it didn't have an MOT for like 12 years or something like that. So I'm assuming it's because it's just sat in someone's garage, never been ridden or anything like that, so they've had to take it all apart because of that. To get the engine to top-notch cosmetically, it all had to be split, so we took advantage of that fact and rebuilt it with no shortcuts. Stop rolling down the hill, you twat. The forks are offered 996, so it was simply because he couldn't get a set of 916 forks in good enough cosmetic condition. Because the bolt pattern's different, he had to change the front calipers to a 996 as well, change the master cylinder, the hoses, as well as the reservoirs, rebuilt all the calipers, so it will definitely stop if you want to, which I've said, this thing really stops. Rear shock is brand new, the finish on the wheels is powder coat, obviously all the fasteners have been dipped. The right hand side fairing lower is brand new, which has the fastener points on the belly pan which rot on the old model, so yours is good for years. Little things like the temperature nozzle, temperature gauges have all broken bezels, and the glasses, so my mate made me a new one, which is what that one is. You won't find any second hand available, as they're all broken. The new ones are very expensive and difficult to come by. The only fault I can think of is that the airbox had to be repaired around where it meets the seat and the tank. That will likely break again in the future because plastic is old. When it does, budget for a carbon item. All in all, it's a great bike. I just found I didn't want to use it because of the riding position, so I bought a Desert X, which is much more suitable for my age. Enjoy and get in touch if you need any more details. Alan, I knew this bike had been given a good seeing to, as it were. Like I said before, all the bearings have been done, all the main seals have been done, like everything's been done on it mechanically. Obviously before I bought it from the bike specialist, they serviced it and did the belts for me. There's a few bits cosmetically that I'd like to touch up and fix, like this bit that just needs a bit of a polish down, maybe a wet sand and then a repaint kind of thing. But in general, the bike is just really solid mechanically, and cosmetically it still looks very nice. It needs a little bit of love electronically because of when it wouldn't run for months because the fuel pipe came off in there. I took everything apart and clearly I messed something up, so it's got a bit of a parasitic draw on the headlight because of that. I've had a new stator, new reg rec, one for you Mark, reg rec, new battery on it. I think what I might do is get someone that knows what they're doing to have a look at it before I do any more big rides on it. Look at this, Mum, I'm not going into McDonald's. Are you proud of me? Oh, the noise of it in the tunnel. Oh my god. So yes, very, very happy about that. Alan, if you were watching this, thank you very much for reaching out. Just that little thing, it's like another little nugget where I'm just like, I did overpay for this thing. I'm well aware of that, but I think it's going to be a good buy. I could have paid £2 less for a bike that hadn't had any of that work done, and then it could go bang. So I'm still very happy I bought it. On the subject of improvement, I went through a bit of a period over the last month or so where I've just kind of gone, I feel like I'm just stuck in monotony, where I'm not able to do what I want to because I'm always working, or I'm always doing something, or something is always costing me money or whatever. And I think that's a very easy trap to fall into, a very easy thing to feel like you're not going anywhere, feel like you're not progressing, feel like you're not achieving anything, I guess, in a weird way. I was chatting to Mike the other day, one of my Patreons, good old Mikey boy. I was chatting to him the other day about it, and I thought, do you know what, I don't know how it's going to look, but just start doing maybe one video every month or 2 months or whatever it is. No time on my phone, or very little time on my phone, which is a bit of an ongoing thing for me. I'm fed up of being on my phone all the time. And I'm just going to do a bit of like a self-improvement Sunday. Spend some amount of time trying to improve my current state. Just simple things like I could brush, clean and recoat my boots. Very, very simple thing. It's not necessarily needed because they're still very, very waterproof and they still do everything I want them to, and they're still really comfy. But it's just every time I put them on, they just look a bit tatty. Cleaning them will just make me feel a little bit better. So there's that side of things, and then there's also like the learning. I think it will probably come out next week, so I'm still in the process of editing it. I've done my first video on the 3D scanning. The week after I'll do the video on the 3D printing. Very basic, I know, but I've taught myself the basics of 3D scanning. I want to teach myself how to weld. I want to teach myself all these different things. There are quite a few opportunities that present themselves, especially when you've got mates like Joe that buy stuff that they shouldn't buy because it's suspiciously cheap. Joe, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All of those things are going to push me to essentially be better, do something that I haven't done before. I'm going to take a photo because this is very pretty. I want to take a photo of my bike because I like taking a photo of this bike, especially because this bike is bloody sexy, isn't it? You know, people say, like, if you tell someone you're going to do something, it holds them accountable, or it holds you accountable, or whatever it is. So this is me telling you lot that I'm going to do something, and I'm going to better myself every single week. I'm not going to do every single week as a self-development video because you'll get very bored, but I'll bring some of that to you. Oh, Teapot One has just reacted to your story. Thanks, Teapot. And I invite you lot to do it with me. Not do it with me because that's a different Patreon, that. But yeah, I invite you lot to sort of push yourself and do the same thing. Better yourself in any way you can. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to go and take pictures of this thing in the middle of the road and try to do it before cars come. Thank you for listening to me ramble, and I will see you in next week's video, which will be the 3D scanning video, I think. So stick around if you're interested and you want to see that. Bye!